Thank you for watching us on YouTube. But did you know that if you're on the go, you can get the full show as a podcast now? You can get our morning breakdown of the most important topics facing our country, news not being covered by the mainstream media, interviews with change-making progressives, and info on what you can actually do about all this. Search for The Damage Report on your favorite podcast app and subscribe so you know when new episodes are ready to go. The Kavanaugh FBI investigation is done. Sorry, the FBI investigation is done. And they've produced their report, which the White House has already responded to. I say responded to, not read, because they didn't read it. They just responded to it. And Trump said that it was, there's no new evidence, there's no new corroboration. So he's still confident of Brett Kavanaugh, which is weird because I thought, after mocking a sexual assault survivor at a rally, the next day he would have an open mind to the evidence.
Yeah, I figured he might do a 180 and then just, believe Dr. Ford, but full of surprises.
Yes, now there are some significant problems with this investigation, or what passes for an investigation. The first and potentially largest is if it's about a sexual assault accusation, and they don't interview the accuser or the accused, that seems a little bit weird. And that was not lost on the lawyers for Christine Blasey Ford. They put out a statement saying, an FBI supplemental background investigation that did not include an interview of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, nor the witnesses who corroborate her testimony, cannot be called an investigation. We're profoundly disappointed that after the tremendous sacrifice she made in coming forward, those directing the FBI investigation were not interested in seeking truth. And as of just a few minutes ago, news broke that they had sent a letter to the director of the FBI requesting that the FBI interview 8 potential witnesses in connection with the allegations made against Judge Kavanaugh. So no Ford, no Kavanaugh.
Well, I think, and then also the Republican response to this has been like, well, of course Democrats are saying it's not enough. They were always going to do that, which is so painfully dishonest because they didn't do enough prep for this, this investigation at all intentionally, and then are gaslighting us and being like, well, we knew you'd say there wasn't enough prep for this because that's how we made it happen.
Yeah, and look, if you're going to make that argument and say that we're just being disingenuous, and no matter who it was that you left out, we were going to say that the investigation wasn't enough. Make it tough for us,
Yeah.
Don't have it be the 2 principal people in this story. That makes your case a little bit tougher. But of course, it goes beyond that. More than 40 people with potential information in the sexual misconduct allegations against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh have not been contacted by the FBI, according to multiple sources. And there, what you have is, with Christine Blasey Ford, there's a number of people. I've seen between 8 and 20 that they say they want the FBI to talk to. The FBI is not going to talk to them. With Deborah Ramirez, she has multiple people willing to go on the record that have since gone public because the FBI won't talk to them, saying, no, we heard at the time about Brett Kavanaugh. It was very clear what happened. It was very clear that it was Brett Kavanaugh. We keep hearing no corroboration, no corroboration. You've got many people willing to go on the record to say that it happened at the time that it happened. They knew about it. And the FBI is either not interested or not able to actually talk to these people.
Well, and then there was also the story, I think, maybe like 2 days ago that friends of Kavanaugh had heard that Kavanaugh had been discussing and preparing for that allegation, that he already knew it was coming before it was made. Yeah, and so we all know that this is a sham, that this is, we're being scammed into getting another Supreme Court justice whose only purpose is to say, oh yeah, you can't indict the president. You can't make the president respond to a subpoena. That's his only purpose. Because there are so many Republican judges who will happily overturn Roe versus Wade, who will happily give more money to billionaires when if Citizens United comes up again. Like it's just this. It's weird that we're never really addressing the main purpose of Kavanaugh, which is to protect Trump. And I feel like we lose that when we.
Yeah, I'm a little bit split. I definitely thought before the sexual assault that was the main reason. And I do think that for Trump himself, it's a big part of why he's pushing for him. I think, though, the new fervor amongst the right towards Kavanaugh, that, by the way, wasn't even really there before Christine Ford came forward, makes clear to me that for many people, if not for Trump, this is not about Brett Kavanaugh. This is about sticking their middle finger up at the Me Too movement.
Yeah, I think. Well, I agree. I think now that that's definitely he's become like this figurehead of against the Me Too movement, the pro-Trump movement. Essentially, the I don't care about you, I've got mine section of like the white man population. And so yeah, I totally agree that that's what it's become. But I think the Kavanaugh protecting Trump is still like very much like an active part of this that has sort of like fallen to the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would be worried about that too, because it's seeming likely to get there. We'll be breaking down some of the evidence on that in a little bit. And if he gets there, he's going to be there for quite a while. But one other point that I want to make about this, I did the thing you're not supposed to do. I've been actually looking at what regular right-wingers on Twitter are saying about this sort of thing, seeing responses, because I've been tweeting a lot about this. This is the principal thing I've been tweeting about for literally weeks at this point. And they continually say that thing that now everybody just says. There's no evidence, there's no corroboration. Like, that has become such a a glass shield. You think you're saying something, but you're not really. It's clear that there's no evidence that you're either interested in or that would actually convince you. But in this particular case, the thing that interests me about it is that it doesn't matter that she is saying that it happened. That counts as literally nothing. It doesn't matter that other people who knew her at the time say that they believe her. Same with Deborah Ramirez. And what it feels like, and I don't think this is really being stated very clear, is there are places in the world where women have far fewer rights than they do here. And it's codified in the law where their testimony is worth a fraction of what a man's is worth. And it's very clear that while that is not written into the law here, that is what we have. A woman saying something happened is worth nothing unless a man confirms it. In general, unless a right-wing man confirms it. It literally means nothing that they say it happened to them. So when you see the stats and it's that false accusations of rape are like 1 to 2% or something like that, forget that. They're automatically presumed to be lying unless a right-wing man says that they're telling the truth.
Yeah. I mean, being accused of sexual assault or sexual impropriety is now being treated. The accusation itself is being treated as worse than the act itself, and the act itself is this is what was craziest to me about the initial reaction to the Kavanaugh allegations, which was that it was a combination of it didn't happen, and if it did,
it doesn't
youthful
matter.
Indiscretion, not a big deal. Which is, it's saying to every woman out there, hey, if something happened to you, if you were sexually assaulted, or if you've experienced sexual misconduct, and you want to come out about it, we're not going to believe you. We're going to attack you. We're going to uncover everything we possibly can to discredit you and ruin you, without really considering whether or not it may have happened, because that's the part that doesn't matter to us. Yeah,
we'll mock you at rallies. And a great demonstration of that is for all the times that the right wing has said that they've ruined Brett Kavanaugh's life. This guy that he's so ruined that he might soon be on the Supreme Court. How many of these right wingers have said, oh, and by the way, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's life was apparently ruined too. And all of these women who get sexually assaulted, their lives are ruined. Do you hear that? You don't hear that, because of course they don't care about that. And it doesn't bother them. Even if it happened, they don't really care. I saw a poll, Republican men asked the question, would you still consider voting for a political candidate who you agree with on the issues, but is facing multiple accusations of sexual assault? 81% said yes. For Democratic men, I think it was 18%, which is still a little bit worrisome, but that's a big difference. And Republican women, by the way, it wasn't a majority, but it was close to it. Far lower for Democratic women, of course.
They care about one thing, and that's power, and that's it. Everything else is irrelevant.
Yeah, and maybe lib tears.
I think it's part of power.
Yeah, maybe.
Making someone cry.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.